Friends, we're about to welcome my friend and my colleague, Paul Thomas, to what is becoming the New Jersey Biotech Hall of Fame. So if you to have headlines for Paul, it would be these. New Jersey entrepreneur brings little-known Texas-based wound care company to New Jersey. With vision, innovation, and leadership, he turns the company from an also-ran into an industry leader. He grows it to the point where it is sustaining more than 500 well-paying jobs. He engineers its acquisition for $1.7 billion. That would be enough to get most people in the Hall of Fame, but that wasn't enough for Paul. For his next headline, he brought Roka Bioscience to New Jersey, and he's now turning it into a leader in the development of assays and technologies that are first being directed to food safety, but ultimately will include biopharmaceutical manufacturing, water testing, veterinary care, environmental testing, and more. Over the last 2 years, Roka has hired 100 people, and they expect to be at 150 employees by the end of the year. This is what the governor was talking about in terms of what the important part of our industry is. It's not only helping people, it is not only changing lives in that fashion, but bringing economic strength to this state with such entrepreneurs as Paul. But that's only one facet of a multifaceted individual. I have the pleasure of serving with Paul on the board of company Agerion, and in these interactions, you can see an engaged and exciting individual who cares deeply about helping people, the people who work for the company, the shareholders, and those who will benefit from their products. Paul, it's my honor to ask you to accept this award and take your place next to your colleagues, Dr. Lisa Drakeman, John Johnson, and John Crowley.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Wow. I don't know what to say. That was really quite a video, and I appreciate all the feedback from my colleagues and the kind words. I've had the great privilege to actually work my entire career, professional career, in the biotechnology industry. And I've also been fortunate enough to spend the last 20 of my 30 years in this industry in the state of New Jersey. And what I'd like to try to do tonight is share some of the highlights of my personal journey in the biotech industry and touch upon some of the lessons I've learned over the years and share why I love this industry and why I think New Jersey is such a great place for biotechnology companies. My personal journey began with undergraduate and graduate studies in chemistry, followed up by going to business school. And my career goal was really to combine a love of science with the necessary business training to enter the biotech industry. So upon graduation from business school in 1982, I joined a company called Omeda Pharmaceutical Products. And this was a company that was focused on developing and commercializing acute care pharmaceuticals. And Omeda Pharmaceutical Products was a newly created division within a large multinational conglomerate. Our parent company, the BOC Group, had interest in everything from industrial gases to vacuum pumps to medical equipment to home healthcare products. And the genesis of the BOC Group's interest in pharmaceuticals was built largely upon their legacy of providing oxygen, nitrous oxide, cyclopropane, and other anesthetic gases to hospitals. So in 1982, the BOC Group decided to form Omeda and to develop inhaled anesthetic agents, focused initially on halogenated ethers, but evolving over time to include other classes of acute care pharmaceuticals. This was my first real job, and I was very excited about the prospect for this startup business. Now, several of my friends from business school thought I was crazy for joining Omida, and were wondering why I didn't accept a job with one of the big pharma companies or Wall Street outfits that had also extended job offers. However, from my perspective, I thought Omida was the ideal first job. It was a startup business, but it was within the cocoon, the protective cocoon, of a large company, the BOC Group, which at the time had revenues exceeding $5 billion and approximately 35,000 employees worldwide. And it turned out to actually be a great learning experience. And over a period of 15 years, we developed and launched several new inhaled anesthetic agents. We acquired a UK biotech company and developed recombinant albumin, which today is used as an excipient for many biotech drugs. And we also licensed and developed inhaled nitric oxide, which is today a breakthrough therapy for the treatment of persistent pulmonary hypertension of the newborn, truly life-saving therapy. The company was very successful from a commercial perspective, and we grew our sales from a base of less than $10 million in 1982 to well over $300 million in the early 1990s. It was also actually my first experience relocating a business to the state of New Jersey. In 1992, we moved our commercial operations from Madison, Wisconsin, which is where I was based, to Liberty Corner, New Jersey, in order to be close to our R&D facility in Murray Hill, right across from the old Bell Labs. And New Jersey turned out to be a great location for our business, for the reasons we've talked about: the availability of scientific and commercial talent, the proximity to Washington in order to meet with the regulators. Plus, it was a lot easier to travel to our corporate headquarters in London, or our biotech research center in Nottingham in the UK, or to our manufacturing facility in Guayama down in Puerto Rico from Newark Airport than from Madison, Wisconsin. I can guarantee you that. At any rate, in 1998, the BOC Group decided that it wanted to return to its roots as an industrial gas company, and therefore was going to divest all of its healthcare operations. The pharmaceutical business, which I was running at the time, was sold to Baxter. And I decided this was really the right time to take off the training wheels and to try to run a biotech company on a standalone basis versus working for a division of the BOC Group or Baxter or any other big pharma company for that matter. So in September of 1998, I joined LifeCell, which was a startup company focused on developing these biologic matrices for the repair of damaged tissues. And LifeCell was actually formed earlier in 1987 as a spin-out from the University of Texas Health Science Center in Houston. And the company at the time was located in the Woodlands, which is about a 45-minute drive north of downtown Houston. In 1998, when I joined, LifeCell was generating about $4 million in revenue. They had an operating loss of $16 million and market cap less than $50 million. Now, on the surface, this doesn't exactly sound like a sure thing or a home run. However, after meeting with the scientific founder, I became intrigued about the possibilities for LifeCell to develop a leadership position in this emerging field of regenerative medicine. So with the love and support of my wife, Patty, and a giant bribe in the form of "I'll do anything for you to move to Texas," we proceeded to buy a house in the Woodlands, which at the time was under construction and scheduled to be completed by the end of the year. We enrolled the kids in school for the winter semester. We had a garage sale. Patty sold everything, including a brand new snowblower for $50, because God knows we wouldn't need that in Texas. We put our house up for sale. We went to a bunch of going away parties. And we were ready to move to the Woodlands right after the new year. So during the fall of this year, while we're getting ready to move to the Woodlands, I began my assessment of the company, the robustness of our technology, our commercial strategy, our R&D priorities, the people, the infrastructure in the company. And as you might imagine, the LifeCell board was anxiously awaiting my assessment at our first board meeting in December. And my feedback to the board was as follows. The core technology was as good or better than what I had originally thought. And there were significant commercial opportunities for our products. However, the commercial strategy needed to be completely revamped. Our R&D priorities were focused on the wrong areas. Our manufacturing facilities had neither the capacity nor the quality systems that we required to move forward, and we needed to make significant changes in personnel throughout the company. So, in short, LifeCell wasn't so much a startup as it was a restart. And, of course, like most entrepreneurs, I thought these were only minor speed bumps on the road to an absolutely fantastic future. And I can say, in retrospect, I honestly don't know what the hell I was thinking at the time. And, I suspect when they get around to sequencing the genome of biotech execs, they'll find that we all have defects in our DNA which compel us to look at the glass as always half full rather than half empty. But at any rate, after a lengthy conversation with the board, we decided if this was going to be a restart, why not build a company in a location more conducive to establishing a real successful company? And so we discussed the merits of moving LifeCell to several different biotech clusters around the country, but we very quickly narrowed our search to focus on the New Jersey and the Boston areas. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I think New Jersey is a great environment for biotech companies. However, I can also tell you unequivocally that the tiebreaker for us choosing New Jersey versus Boston as our new home was largely due to the support we received from BioNJ, the New Jersey EDA, and the biotech community at large within the state. Paul Schmidt, who was a former colleague of mine at OMIDA, and actually, I believe, a founding member of the Biotech Council of New Jersey, I'm dating myself, introduced me to Debbie Hart. And Debbie was a tremendous resource and advocate for the state of New Jersey. And in turn, Debbie introduced me to a number of other folks in the biotech community who were very gracious with their time and providing advice and guidance on what was required for successful relocation. Folks like Don Drakeman and John Jackson and a whole crew, too numerous to name. Debbie also introduced me to Karen Franzini and the folks at the EDA, and we worked with them on our BEEP application. I was also introduced to the folks over at Department of Labor, and they helped us qualify for new employee training grants. And I can tell you it was this level of support combined with the ecosystem within the state that really made New Jersey a great choice for LifeCell. So, thank you. So in the summer of 1999, we began the relocation of LifeCell to New Jersey. And we invited 26 of our employees in the Woodlands to join us in New Jersey. And of the 26, 23 actually decided to relocate to the state, which is actually a pretty good batting average. Now, over the years, LifeCell thrived, and today it actually employs 700 people in the state of New Jersey. And I can say without reservation that the state of New Jersey has been very good for LifeCell, and I believe in turn the company has been also very good for the state. Now, following the sale of LifeCell in 2008, I founded Roka Bioscience, which is a new company, a spin-out that's focused on molecular diagnostics for the detection of pathogens in food, biopharma manufacturing, and other industrial applications. And Roka is actually a spin-out of a very successful clinical diagnostics company, GenProbe, which screens 95% of the blood supply for things like HIV, HCV, as well as conducting tests for sexually transmitted diseases like chlamydia and gonorrhea. Our R&D operations, since GenProbe is based in San Diego, are based in San Diego, continue to be based in San Diego, but all our commercial ops are actually here in New Jersey. Over the past 2 years, we've hired just about 100 people. About 65 of those are in San Diego, about 35 are here in New Jersey, and in 2012, we plan to hire another 45 or 50 people, with many of those folks being in New Jersey, because we're really building out the commercial ops now that we're beginning to generate revenue. And we're very, very excited about the prospects for Roka Bioscience and believe we could have a significant impact on protecting the food supply from pathogens, and hopefully we can also help build upon New Jersey's leadership position as a biotech cluster. Now, over the years, I've learned a lot of lessons, some the hard way, but a common thread seems to be that success in the biotechnology industry requires the convergence of 3 key ingredients. First, you need innovation, that spark of technical insight and human inspiration that provides the very foundation for the creation of new therapies and new businesses. Second, you need venture capital. You need folks who are going to put sufficient risk capital out there that also have the domain expertise and the patience to support the formation and growth of new companies. And finally, you need entrepreneurship. You need those folks who have the vision, the leadership, and the persistence that is necessary to drive a business to success, despite the inevitable bumps on the road. And what I'd like to do very briefly is share how these 3 ingredients came together at LifeCell for the successful development and commercialization of Alloderm and Stratus, which are extracellular tissue matrices, which are quite remarkable. And when these matrices are transplanted, they become revascularized, they repopulate with the patient's own cells, and they remodel to that patient's host tissue. And at LifeCell, we had the great fortune of having a founding scientist, Dr. Stephen Livesey, who provided the original technical insight as to how tissue processing technology could be applied to human skin. And the company's flagship product, Alloderm, provided absolutely remarkable surgical results for a variety of patients. Patients suffering from 3rd-degree burns, patients who are undergoing breast reconstruction following mastectomy, patients who had undergone trauma and had significant damage to their soft tissues. However, the real holy grail in biologic repair was an extracellular matrix that was derived from animal sources, since the supply of human tissue was quite limited relative to the demand. Therefore, we initiated a research program in the early 2000s to develop an extracellular matrix derived from porcine tissue that would perform identically to Alloderm. And this program was launched under the leadership of Dr. David McQuillan, who initially observed that one of the primary causes of failure of porcine-based tissue grafts was the presence of alpha-galactose, which is a carbohydrate that is present in animal tissues, and it triggers an immune response in humans. Well, after a lengthy development program with many twists and turns, we successfully launched Stratus. And today, those products, Stratus and Alloderm, are the leading products for biologic repair of soft tissue defects and help countless patients around the country and indeed around the world. We were also very fortunate in that we had great investors such as OrbiMed, who provided smart and patient risk capital, as well as significant domain expertise to support the launch of Alloderm and the development of Stratus. In fact, Jonathan Silverstein, who is a partner at OrbiMed and who was also a member of the LifeCell board, added considerable value well beyond the investment dollars from his fund. And OrbiMed was one of our largest shareholders at LifeCell. They made their original investment in 2001, 2002, when our market cap was about $30 million. And they continued to be a major shareholder right up through we sold the company for $1.8 billion in 2008. So not a bad return for smart and patient capital. And I'm not sure, but I suspect that one of the reasons that OrbiMed is also one of the founding investors in Roka is that they're hoping to get similar returns in this new venture as well. We also had a great team at LifeCell, folks who had the vision and the persistence to work through the many issues associated with the launch of Alloderm and the development of Stratus. And one of the reasons that the LifeCell team had such passion and commitment for all of their work and all their hard effort was because they saw the impact our products had on patients' lives. In fact, we'd often bring surgeons and patients to our town hall meetings, and they would share how our products changed their lives. And this was hugely energizing for all of us and helped us persevere through all the difficulties and challenges associated with bringing these products to market. You know, I love this industry. My guiding principle in choosing a career in the biotech industry and selecting the companies I've worked for over the years were really quite simple. I wanted to enjoy what I did on a daily basis. I wanted to enjoy whom I was doing it with on a daily basis. And I wanted to feel like I was making a difference in the world. And I found all of this and more in the biotech industry. And it's why I love what I do each and every day. So, in closing, I'd just like to express my sincere thanks to some of the people who have contributed to both my personal and professional development over the years. First of all, I'd like to thank my parents for instilling in me the importance of education, the value of hard work and persistence, and perhaps most importantly, providing the moral foundation which has helped guide my decision-making over the years. I'd also like to thank my wife, Patty, for her unqualified support. She's been an incredible partner as we've tried to balance the demands of active careers as well as the needs of our 4 children as well as other family and community commitments. And I've also benefited unbelievably from having the support of many colleagues in the biotech community at BioNJ and all the ancillary folks who have freely shared their advice and wisdom over the years. And finally, I'd like to thank Sal Baer, who provides such inspiration to all of us in the biotech industry. We all know that Sal is a very accomplished biotech executive who built Celgene into one of the premier companies in both the state of New Jersey and in the country, for that matter. However, beyond his accomplishments at Celgene, I'm even more impressed with how Sal generously gives back to the biotech community. As Sal mentioned earlier, I have the privilege of serving with him together on the board of a company that's developing an orphan drug for patients with off-the-charts LDL cholesterol levels. And I've had the opportunity to observe firsthand how valuable and appreciated his input and counsel is to this next generation of biotech entrepreneurs. So once again, Sal is raising the bar for all of us to step forward and show how we can contribute not only to our current companies, but in the future as we become senior statesmen to the biotech community at large. So again, I am truly honored by this award, and thank you very much.